Welcome back for another Swift Insider Tiny Race Series, December 9th. This is 2023. Glad to be back with y'all. I want to ask that you like and subscribe to my material. Please help me get to 100 subscribers this year. About 3 weeks left. I'm at 75. Thank y'all for actually subscribing to my channel. Thank y'all for watching my channel. I really greatly appreciate it. Now, let's get into the new races that we had this week. Now, I have changed up some things on my race. What I'm doing from now on is that I race all 4 races. Don't worry about that, and I'll put the results up for all 4 races. But what I'm going to do every week now with the Tiny Race Series, so I can talk about more in depth about the races that I do, is I'm going to try to put the 2 best races of that week. And that way it's a shorter video, but it gives me a chance to actually get into more detail, slow the videos down a little bit more so you can see more of the race. I'm getting a little bit better at doing this. There's a couple of more things I want to add into my videos next year, and cutting it down to like 2 races per video, even though like I do the stage races and I may race 5 or 6 of them. I'll post the results, all of them, as I do the videos in these breaks like you see now. But what I want to do is start being able to add more to my material without lengthening the videos outrageously long. So I'm going to do the 2 best races of everything that I do from now on, and no matter what series I do, unless it's only 1 race. Like when we get ready to do these ladder races, I don't know how many of those we're going to do and how long they are, but I am really looking forward to getting into this ladder climbing, the ladder club ladder races that my team is getting into. So let's dip into the videos. We're going to go ahead and get into video. In fact, let me go ahead and tell you about video number 1 was that I did not record. I recorded the first race, but I did not put it in the video because the first race was a climb. I came in to like 25th in that race. Number 1 was somebody named Evan, and number 2 was Tandem. With Tandem, as you can see in the description of the thumbnail, he's back. Now in that race, like I said, I came in 25th on the Swift races. Swift Power, I came in like 24th, I want to say. And the same thing was Evan and Tandem, number 1 and number 2. And another guy named JL, I'm gonna call him JL, but it's like J Latos or something like that, but I don't want to mess with his last name. So right now we're going to stage and get into race 2, which I will post because it was one of the better races. So we're going to get into race 2. 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're off. And as you say in race 2, I do power up, but I don't take off away from the pack. I want to stick with the pack. Now, I think they took these races this week from the Neo Keo Nights, where this took place mostly there. And in this race, you can see on this one, I get out in front. And the reason I did that, on race 1, which I didn't post on here, race 1, I left with the pack. But the thing with the pack on that one was that at the end of that race, it was mostly a gravel hill climb. So that really made it kind of hard. So I'm gonna put that in there like that. But with this one, I knew where we were on this race. I kind of read up on it, and I knew that if I can get out pretty far on this race, it would make it extremely easy for me at the end of this race. Now, so what I did was came out and decided, plus I knew this race wasn't that long. Now, you see I get passed right there by Jay Emmons. I'm gonna call him J.E. I did not worry about that. The person I was worried about in this race was Tandem and Roland. And Roland informed me short before the race, and doing the race right after the race. I don't say right after the race. He was telling me that he's been working out and getting ready for different things. So he was kind of tired in this one. Plus, BB didn't show up in this one. So it was mostly me and Tandem. There was 5 of my frenemies in here, but for the fact that mostly I was racing Tandem. And so as you see, me and Tandem will ride. Well, Tandem is lower down in the slot now. You don't see him. At first, he was way down, and you slowly see him creeping back up. He doesn't shoot up the top. We just kind of creep back up. Now, I passed that guy who took off in the beginning, and that because sometimes people take off and they jump out, and then they think they can hold it. But if you keep a constant pace, which I've learned now, you can ride these races out. You don't have to keep busting and keep trying to break the pack. All you do is keep a constant pace. Tandem, BB, Roland, they all learned that, to keep a constant pace. Instead of constantly sprinting on certain things, especially these tiny races, sometimes it's better to keep a constant pace. For me, it was about trying to keep 90 pedals per minute. Now, as you see, it's me and BB on this thing, and we're really racing. And like I said, I like the idea of doing 2 races at a time. I don't have to speed. This is only double time for this first part, and I slow it down with about a kilometer left in this thing. I think I did right at that spot, right in that area somewhere. And I did that because it was a nice way of I can show the battle between us a lot better now once I slow it down even slower to regular speed. And that'll give you a chance to see how we break. Now we get to this climb right here. I knew this climb was coming, and I've been pretty good at this climb. And as I slow it down, you get to see that coming up this hill, I'm putting a lot of power. You see my pedals up to 100, 105, 106, 108 pedals per minute. And there comes Tandem right up behind me. I said he was coming. And we raced this thing out, and I look down and I see A. Woods, he falls back. And then I see S. Robinson, and he comes up, but they're still 4 or 5 seconds behind us. And it's just me and Tandem. So what I'm doing now is I have to climb the hill, but I'm trying to keep Tandem from slingshotting off of me at the end of this race, even though we have a lot further to go. So what I decided to do was let me go ahead and climb up this hill, get pretty good speed behind me. Though I can't slow down on an incline because if I do, Tandem's a lot lighter than me. He'll take off, so I have to keep the pressure on. So I have to leave him behind me. I figure he's gonna use that to drag us behind me while we coming up the hill. I don't think draft really works going uphill, but it's still a lot easier for him to stay right behind me and climb uphill in case when we go down here, he can sling out shot behind me. So what I do is I maintain that. So as we get closer to 300 kilometers, I fall back behind him. And now what all we waiting on now is win the sprint. That's all we waiting on. And as you can see, as we get down about 200 meters, I take off and he takes off. And we're literally neck to neck. You can see it. And I'm hoping that he had to push himself a little harder in the beginning of the climb than I did. And that's what happened. That's the only reason it happened. And I win this one, but by the smallest of margins. So what we're going to do now is head into the next race. Now on to the next thing. So, like I said, I'm only showing 2 races so I can show more in-depth of the battles in between, and I can talk more about the races. I think it's a lot better to give you better commentary and understanding of the races than to give you a quantity of races. So that's what I'm trying to. If you have any suggestions, give them to me. I love y'all comments. So, and also, please, like I said, like and subscribe. Likes help me move up in the algorithm, so please like. Subscribers help me. I'm trying to get to 100 for the year with. I'm at 75, so if y'all can help me out, it'd be greatly, greatly appreciated. So, like I said, in this one, I'm going to show the stats for, that like I did in the first one. It's going to be here, most likely on both sides. The stats for race 3, I'm not going to show that one. I'm going to post race 4. That was the better of the 4 races. Now, in race 3, like I said, I came in 9th. I came in 9th and 10th, I think, on Zwift Power and Zwift. That race was a climb. It was a Neo Top rooftop. It ended on a climb, so you can understand where I was in that race. I never really led in that race. It was a good race. Like I said, I came in 9th. I think for the most part, when we took off, I stayed around 4th. And when we got to the end to the climb, that's where I got past. So what I'm going to do now is we get ready to get into race 4. And this is going to be a pretty good one. We got 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're off. As we take off on this race, you see, like I said, I'm not out to lead the pack. I want to stay with the pack. That's the whole purpose of this thing, is not to lead the pack, but to stay inside the pack. And that way I can gain boost from the draft. Plus, you gotta understand, this is our 4th race. If you notice, I had on a black shirt over what I have on now. And I took the shirt off. And I did that because I was starting to really get hot. I put the shirt on over what I had because I was trying to warm up. Now, as we take off on this race and we're getting really going good, I hop out in front. And it's because I know that everybody else tired. I know what this race is, and I thought there was a climb at the beginning of this race. So I was trying to get myself lead into the race. I thought I read that there was a climb at the beginning of this race, but it wasn't. There's a slight climb at the end, but that's about it. This race was really mostly, I thought the second race was the flattest of the race. This seemed like this was the flattest of the race. Now you see Paul D come past us and he's blind. and I'm sitting right there in fifth. And all I'm doing is maintaining my 90 pedals per minute, close to that, and I'm keeping a marginal push on there. And I know that if I just maintain that I'll walk him down eventually. I'm not even worried about it. This race. I think was the longest of all of them, so I wasn't worried about him getting away. It was actually too early to take off like he did. He would have came out better. Them two in front would have came out better just to ride the pack because it made more sense. So what I decided to do once we got up there to second place, I was riding. I looked down, and I was looking for Tandem, and I see Ron Howard there at the bottom, and I see Tandem slowly got right back up behind me. So me and Tandem are riding. I know that Tandem, what I was going to do is once he hit the helmet, I had to push power up to catch up to him, to get out and comes on and get back up to him. But I knew that I could ride his draft, and he needed me behind him to help push him forward too. So I decided to climb up and get up behind him. I wasn't gonna let him leave me, and I was just gonna ride behind him to get the power of that draft with him. Now as I catch up to him, we're riding pretty good. And I see that we end up catching Paul D with no problem. So at this point, I'm thinking the race is just gonna be me and him. I really am. And I'm watching as we come to the end, as we come around this corner here, we coming up on just a third of the race, about third of the race through, and it's just mostly me and him. I see a Jay Levins up behind me, called JL. He's right behind us, and he pulls up, and it becomes a battle of us three. Now this is the fun part, because I don't have it super sped up. It really looks nice as you watch the race and as we're pedaling through this thing. I mean, the idea of cutting it down to 2 so I don't have the videos too long, but I can slow the videos down so it shows more of the race and unwinding of the race. And as you can see, it's us three. Everybody else is going behind us. And so what I'm trying to do is ride off a Tandem. If I feel Tandem slow down, I'll hop in front and pull. And if I slow down, Tandem kind of rotates in front and pulls. And that's kind of how races really are, because one person is trying to keep the speed up, and I think we were just trying to keep the pace up. So as we come through, as we get close to the arcade section of here, it's all three of us riding together. You see that? And I couldn't understand why levels went over there. Now, the one thing I like about Zwift that they did correct is that the Zwift play kind of does it on its own. It keeps putting me back in the draft of somebody, so I don't have to keep scooting behind them with the controllers. So I really like that, and I'm glad for that. They really fixed that, and that's one thing that helped out, because what would happen if normally I would get pushed out of the draft. So as we come around on this one, we're still riding together. And I'm like, okay, cool. We just gonna keep riding at this pace. This is a battle just between us. And I'm looking at them going, okay, cool. The least I said in my head, this is the one thing I said in my head. I said, the least I'm coming in third, because at this moment, there's nobody else really left in this race but us. We're doing really well on time and speed. Now, I didn't go see what we did on the level of everybody else, but I know we did pretty good for ourselves on this and time and speed. And so as we're riding coming up on this thing, I look up and I go, well, cool. We getting ready to get close to the end. I look at the thing and I see we got 2 kilometers, less 1.7 kilometers left. And so now it's about conserving power, lowering my heart rate. Right? That's the one thing I'm starting to really learn, is that as we get close to the end of the race, finding ways to lower my heart rate. And that's what I was trying to do. Lower my power, lower my heart rate, so I can make the sprint at the end. I'm starting to understand what some people were telling me about the sprint. And so we get to the tunnel, and it seems, as I slow it down, it seems like we lost JL. And he was there. I think he's right behind us. But now it's just me and Tandem. And we're trying, at this point, I slowed it down where we got like a kilometer left. And it's just me and Tandem. We went through the tunnel, and this is when the race became epic, because now we're in the gravel. I know I have to pick it up, stay in the gravel. So the heart rate thing is going to pick up a little bit, but I'm feeling good about where we at. And I know Tandem is right behind me. Now, I don't know how the draft works with the gravel, if it works just the same as the street, but I knew that I needed to kind of stay powered up in the gravel, because the one thing is, if I slow down in gravel, it greatly affects me because of my weight. So I have to keep pushing it in to stay up there in the gravel. So as we're riding, we're at 6.10, we're at 6.6 kilometers, and I know he's right down my I know that. So now I want to kind of slow down, but like I say, we're in sand gravel, and I can't. But luckily, because we wasn't pushing on the last 3 kilometers, only really started pushing this last kilometer, my heart rate is only now starting to tick up. So I'm comfortable. It's hard to sprint when your heart rate is already at like 160. So my heart rate is like 147. I got sprinting room now. So as we come around the last 100, 300 meters, Tandem jumps out in front, and I start to push it because, like I say, I hadn't really put in nothing. So now at about 140, I really put in because I hadn't really been pushing myself, and now I have room to push. Now we're both pushing at the end of this race. I'm enjoying it. We're really rolling, and in the last second, I eke out a win. Man, thank you, Tandem, for this, man. Have a great day, y'all. Thank you for watching my video. Please like and subscribe, and ride on.